Good afternoon, everybody. We will call this council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, September the 16th, at 5 p.m. and we are in council chambers. Please. Oh.
In this meeting, council, by acknowledging that the meeting is having been land being inhabited by indigenous peoples from the beginning. Long before today, as we gather here, there have been Aboriginal peoples who have been the stewards of this place. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territory of Nishnabek, Wendat, and Haudenosaunee peoples.
Thank you so much, Councillor Card. Takes us to item number 4, the adoption of the agenda. It's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crowley. Will the agenda of the September 16th, 2025 meeting of council be adopted as presented? Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. And that's carried. Item number 5, any declarations of chemical for pecuniary interest today? Seeing none. 6 is the adoption of the minutes. Moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card. That the minutes from the July 2nd council meeting, August 12th special meeting, and September the 2nd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting be received and adopted. Any errors or omissions? Call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. To actions and resolutions, and the first one is around the community grants program. And it's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper. The council approved the community grants for intake as recommended at the September 2nd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. So I don't have to necessarily summarize who the people were, but more moving forward. So thank you to staff for the work that you did, and congratulations to the people that we announced at committee of the whole for receiving the grants. We also talked about changing the date. Is that just so that the public's listening? I know like right now the Lions has their window open for grant applications, and they make it pretty clear and they're quite rigid in a good way, so they know who's applied. What date would be the next intake for the Village of Westport community grants?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. If we don't change it, it will be January 31st of 2026. That'll be the first intake of the new year. And then the second intake, as outlined in the policy, is the June 30th, 2026 deadline.
And are you bringing back an amendment to that policy that will change the date?
So that's what I was hoping to do, is bring it back in November, and then outline the new date being, actually October, sorry, and outline the new deadline being November, as that's when all of the volunteer groups are deliberating their budgets too for the next year.
Okay.
Ahead of 2026 rather than at the beginning.
So you bring it back to committee of the whole in October,
Yeah.
pass it at council in October with a diary date for submission the end of November. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I look forward to that. I
But I'll
think
bring it back.
we had to play it out for a year to see how it worked, but I think your suggestion was really, really good. Anything out of community grants that you want to talk about? Go ahead.
Just quickly, we were
talked last time about whether or not we were going to do a more formal review of how it went from the perspective of those who applied for it or used it and how it worked for staff, et cetera. And I think last meeting you asked him to look at the notes, see if we actually did agree to do that. So I'm pretty sure we did at some point.
I'm just wondering if we did it, do we want to give it at least a year?
Well, no, after the year, yeah, when it was to give it a year.
Yeah, okay.
When is that year?
This is only the second intake in the
Right.
same year, so
Yeah.
we're just giving money out now.
Okay.
So let's put a date on that.
Yeah, exactly. Just put it
The next intake sounds like it's gonna be November
Mhm.
as opposed to January.
Yeah.
So why don't we look at doing a review of it, March of 2026?
Great.
Then that'll be before the second intake for 2026. Is that direction, staff? Why
Yep.
we don't need anything more?
No.
Okay.
That's good.
Anybody, anything else? We will call a question. All in favor? Carry. Okay, 7.2 is comprehensive zoning bylaw update RFP results. And so it's moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card. The council award the comprehensive zoning bylaw update project to Novatech engineers, planners, and landscape architects. So for the public, this is a long overdue review of the bylaw that designates the zone that people have businesses in or live in, and what activities and building planning events are possible there. Ours is very much out of date. We needed to update our official plan first before we could do this. And people may or may not recall that we split the work for the OP over 2 years because they're very expensive to do. Are we doing the same with this? We're approving this now in October. Will the September? Will the work begin, and are we looking to cost share it in 26? Looking for completion before the new council takes place?
Mhm.
Is that the idea? Go
Yep,
ahead.
through you, Madam Mayor, outlined in the RFP, it was $25,000 allotted for this budget year. Council approved that, so we're gonna work on it up to that amount. And then put in another 25 for 2026 budget with a completion date of August of 2026.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hard stop, because we'd like to get it approved. There's something to be said for a group of counselors who sat around the horseshoe for 4 years, rather than giving that work to somebody brand new. There can always be amendments,
Yep.
but let's get it done. Okay, that's great. Any questions coming out of that? All right, I'll call the question then. All in favor? And that's carried. 7.3, hearing the people down the street cheer again. Public Works Library entrance update. It's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper. The council proceed with the library entranceway project using existing suppliers and pricing for the 2025 approved budget. Discussion. Councillor Card.
After all the conversations we've had over and all the information we've been given, it's a pretty complex problem, space related, and what I've seen lately, I think is the very best solution that you could possibly come up, getting what you have to work with. So I think it's
Yeah.
all we're proud of.
Okay, and given the legislation that we need to be compliant. At some point, I think we'd like a briefing on what's gonna happen to the front. You know, what's the, so that's through to you, CAO. We kind of parked all those discussions to focus on the entrance, side entrance, and how it was going into the library, but I wouldn't mind hearing what's happening.
Peter, Madam Mayor, just a question about timing. Just might be worthwhile to refresh what time is on the project. I was actually asked about that today.
Yeah. Good thing. I think it's PD2, but Mr. Evans.
Yeah, so still looking at fall, hoping to line it up with the tail end of Spring Street as well. Just working on the final detailed design for construction drawings as we speak. So this will be this fall.
Because once the design is done, the work itself isn't terribly complicated. Is that, I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but it's really straightforward. Maybe that's better.
That's right, yours, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, and we're hoping that it's a heated grant.
So the hope still, so waiting back here from the electrical contractor to see if they still has the load. But the engineers didn't seem to think it would be an issue for the design.
Okay.
Or
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed that it can handle that. And that takes care of particularly into December, the freezing rain and the February. You good? Any other discussion? Okay.
Just, not to dwell on that, but if it is a bone tension that needed ramp, why would we not go ahead and put the cable in the ramp and down the road, maybe upgrade the electrical service? I can't see going ahead with it. And I have the cable, not planning ahead and getting it in.
Good thought. And once it's in, as we know from the arena, there's nothing you can do about it.
Part of the grant was through you I think, part of the grant was for the service desk. In the last conversation, for your request, I asked Pam to get to you have you got the information you need about the service desk at this point?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think we did get the specs for it. Or did you order it?
Yeah, I think it's in progress. It hasn't
Right.
been ordered yet.
Okay.
Very good. No, we'll all come together.
It's coming together, and I will say one more thing, thanks to staff for, and to the library board for a lot of communal patience and persistence on it. And it's great to see support for, and the furnace heat pump that's been installed this summer in conjunction with that, it's easy to overlook. That's, a quarter of the price of this grant. There's a lot of money too. So, yeah, we've done a lot of investing in an important facility that's, and it's much appreciated.
All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. 7.4 is the winter dock storage policy for the Westport Harbor. That's moved by Councillor Cropper, seconded by Councillor Card. The council prohibit dock storage within the village water lot at the harbor and implement a monetary penalty for the removal of docks that continue to be stored there. I just have one suggestion for staff. Over the CAO, I would probably, now that several people have identified themselves on who had used it in the past, we should ensure that correspondence goes to them so that they understand what I just read.
Yep.
I've had very little, I've only had one email, you may have got it from the same person since then, but the majority of people I've spoken to it was like a penny dropping once they realized the small amount of area that we had to work in, and in the water lot that we actually lease. So anybody else want to make a comment on this?
Just quickly, that I think it's important for people to know that we do, in between meetings, get some correspondence. And not only did I get that email, I got phone calls. People wanting that information, exactly what the issue was, and and asking about timeframes for rectifying, and I wanted to learn about what others on the lake do. And I would argue that we've made a decision in time for alternate decisions to be made by property owners. I mean, it's totally doable in mid-September to have an alternate solution by freeze up. So,
Yeah.
Although it may not seem it to some, it in my opinion is it's not too tight a time frame. And part of my support for this is that it's not November when we're making this change.
Everything okay in your world, Mr. Chisholm?
Yes. Yep. No problems there.
All right, good. I'll call the question. All in favor? We're Aragon is 7.5. By Councillor Aragon, seconded by Councillor Cropper, that whereas the Council of the Village of Westport has approved through budget processes the continuous funding for improvements of many village facilities, and whereas the Village of Westport, in conjunction with the Lockwood Foundation, have invested over $200,000 in the improvement of the Lockwood Park facilities, and whereas vandalism of village facility has been reportedly increasing, specifically damage to the new Lockwood Park washroom facility. Now, therefore, the committee of the whole recommend that council direct staff to research and report back on the policy requirements, cost, and enforcement capabilities to implement a comprehensive video surveillance security system for those facilities most affected by vandalism. So if there's comments or questions, that's fine. We'll keep them at a general level. because this is something that we tend to deal with in camera because it's around security of municipal property. But I'm certainly welcome to take any general comments.
Sure. I just think it's nice to get to the ball rolling, excuse me, just to see what is available and the options that are there. It might not be feasible for us, but I think we should certainly look into it, and especially with the increase in vandalism. So yeah, I think it's great.
Okay. Call the question then. All in favor? Carry. Staff reports, 8.1. This is the Legion banner project. Not quite right. Upper Rito, thank you, Upper Rito. You remove this? Sure. Okay. Right, that's good.
Sure.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got the name right. So it's moved by Councillor Carney, seconded by Councillor Card. The Council of the Village of Westport received a report entitled Public Works Legion Banner Program, and that council directs staff to support the Honor Our Veterans Banner Program by installing banners in accordance with the letter of understanding. So there's in our package, but CEO, did you want to speak to it, or do you want Councillor Cardy? Maybe you could talk about the MOU, just because we mentioned it in the motion.
Yeah, sure. So through you, Madam Mayor, we met with the Legion representatives and the banner project manager, to which we sort of agreed to some of the provisions of the project, outlining who will own what, who will do what. And that's what's in the letter of understanding that's attached to the briefing note.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Great working with the vice president of the Legion. He's also a process person. Let's get it down in writing. So when people move on, elections are held, people change, there's an agreement. Councillor Creddy, do you want to make any comment on it?
No, they're just really eager to get this ball rolling, and there seems to be a lot of interest too, like with public. So I think it'll be a great initiative.
Yeah. So for the public to understand what we're talking about, we've probably been in Perth, Carlton Place, other communities where for a couple of weeks prior to Remembrance Day, the banners that are on hydro poles and other places are a photo of a member of that community who gave the supreme sacrifice in the war in one of the wars. When we were meeting with the colonel and the project manager, she had one with her, and I didn't realize at first it was actually her dad. And it was very meaningful. Dates that they're going to go up. Could you just give us a better idea of that for the public so they can be watching from Mr. Evans?
So, Your Worship, we won't get the banners until the very end of September. So they'll be put up end of September, beginning of October.
Okay.
They'll be up until towards the end of November.
Yeah, that's great. They're trying to coordinate best of our ability because there's an event at the Legion to show everybody the banners, and then we will get them after that. But I know Public Works is trying to somewhat have the same time as Perth, so that when people drive through, it's just a really solid message. So yeah, good work, Councillor Cardy, for your involvement with that group, and I for one, I'm super excited to see them up. I think it's going to be very moving. So I'll just call that question. All in favor? Carried. 8.2 Public Works Rural Ontario Development Application. So it's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper. The council received the report Public Works Rural Ontario Development Grant Application. And the council endorsed the resolution of support for the application to the Rural Ontario Development Grant Program, short form ROD, used to be RED. This is the new program. Any questions or comments on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm supportive of endorsing this. I just was curious when I was reading through the briefing note, how we arrived at the actual dollar amount that we're applying for. Is it a rough estimate, or do we actually have estimates for the work that needs to be done?
Okay. Over to Mr. Evans.
Yeah. So it is a rough estimate at this point. We don't have firm quotes, but based on the work that we've done in the past around the village, that's our best estimate at this time.
Yeah, would given the way grant applications work, would it be advisable to ask for a little more, or is it? I'm just asking the question because it seems that given the amount of work that's in the briefing note, it seems that it might be a little more.
Mary factored in. Go ahead, Mr. Evans.
So, Fish, we're working on getting all those details finalized
Okay.
right up until the date of the grant, if council, supports the regional.
Okay, but, do you have to have, for this, I've never applied for a red grant or white grant now. Do you have to have quotes to go with the application?
This one doesn't require actual quotes, but it is a good idea to have them.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take what Councillor Aragona said in consideration. Good point. All right, then everybody's all right with that? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Good work. You have grants. Information items. Right, so it's moved by Councillor Crafter, seconded by Councillor Card. Council received 9.1 for information purposes. The letter is going to be written. So know that we're aiming. Let's call that question. Favor. Bylaws. 10.1 is to amend the parking bylaws. Moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crawford. Bylaw 2025-25. A bylaw to amend Schedule B, Section 9 of Bylaw 2018-39. A bylaw to regulate parking on roadways within the village of Westport. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 16th day of September 2025. Any discussion, comments, concerns? Councillor Carnell.
Question, the seasonal parking, should it be on the first? In particular, I'm talking about Spring Street south side from the arena to the corner. Prohibited in the winter.
I'm going to go to Mr. Evans for what his amendments are. Go ahead.
Yeah, so through your worship, your worship, I have not placed any other changes other than the Spring Street and that block. There is a general prohibition for signs prohibited. So that would likely cover that point. I can review the bylaw to make sure it's in there somewhere else, but
Okay, so Councillor Card's question is do we have in our bylaw that area around the fire hall and arena for seasonal? And your point is it's well posted, so it's covered that way.
So I didn't look at that part of the bylaw. This is just an amendment to one segment to add that list. I believe it's somewhere in there elsewhere, or at a minimum, it would be covered under the general public property sign prohibited.
Okay.
I'd have to review to get the actual answer on. It predates both these bylaws.
Sure. I think if you wouldn't mind, because we're hockey goers, I know that we probably all grind our teeth when we see someone parking where they shouldn't, knowing that the reasons why they can't park there is for emergency response. And so you don't have to do it right away, but if you could just source that out for us, that would be terrific. Is that okay then? Great. Anybody, anything else? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Is general rates and fees bylaw. Moved by Councillor Crawford, seconded by Councillor Card, that bylaw 2025-27 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-37, the 2025 general rates and fees bylaw for the corporation of the village of Westport be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 16th day of September 2025. You want to say anything in relation to that? I mean, it's really hard for the public to understand if they haven't watched the committee of the whole meeting. So I really encourage them to do that because we're not prepared to go through every detail here, but it is available on our website now with the agenda. Go ahead, Councillor Crawford.
So in the unlikely situation that someone who had put their dock in the harbor previously didn't, whatever, follow what's going on, is there gonna be some kind of signage there about that to ensure that people?
Yes.
know?
Signage, and then for the people that have self-identified, you heard, some correspondence. So
I just don't want someone falling through the cracks and wittingly. So
and really, that's one of the reasons why we're doing it, so people don't fall through.
pretty good.
Right, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Councillor. All right, 10.3 is bylaw 2025-28, moved by Councillor Carney, seconded by Councillor Aragona. The bylaw 2025-28 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into agreement with Simcoe Refrigeration for refrigeration rated heat recovery system engineering design. You read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 16th day of September 2025. Exciting? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wonder, through your worship, whether, Travis could expand a little on,
Sure.
on what we're looking at here and the way the equipment.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
So in short, this is the ice plant, the compressors, condenser, the heat exchanger, and the components that would integrate that into the HVAC for the rest of the facility as well. So all part of the greenhouse gas emissions reduction plan, and within the grant that lives near the top of the grant that was announced earlier this year.
So based on, the way we're getting grant, greenhouse gas thing, with screw compressors, high efficiency compressors, seeing there's a major cost saving there in high electricity.
Yeah, so through, anything like the design will come back to council prior to the award. I don't know if at this point, it's just having them go and engineer. They'll provide a recommended efficiency and greenhouse gas emission reduction is of course the priority of this piece. So if the screw compressors are the right ones for the job, or something we can look into a little bit more with them, just make sure they're going to look at it specifically. But they've been extremely helpful with getting these. So they're very confident in their ability. They work with most of the arenas in the problem.
Yeah. And that last piece as well, that they spend from, I bet all year in arenas, and they're great. So what is it that this is going to be for though? I couldn't hear you. So for the average person who knows that there's money coming for the arena, what's this for?
The most shortest terms,
Yeah.
I would call it the ice plant. This
Okay.
is
Good.
the ice plant within the arena.
And so with the new ice plant, the noise is pretty constant outside when the plant is running. We would expect to see some difference in that because it'll be more energy efficient.
Your worship,
We don't know.
The outdoor,
Asking me questions.
the outdoor condenser, being new, I would
Okay.
have to assume it'll be quieter than
All right.
the current one. But, I wouldn't guarantee that.
Okay.
I'm not the expert.
He's not helping you much. He's just not in bed.
Close to.
Yeah.
Close to guaranteeing as well in recreation.
All right. Oh, this is so exciting though for our arena, for sure. Council.
Yeah, and it's exciting for our environment. And I think it would be wise for us to consider some kind of big, like this isn't just about arenas and hockey, it's about carbon reduction.
For
And
sure.
at this time, like we're leaders in this and we've been
Yeah.
awarded this grant for that purpose. So perhaps to staff, we could think of, and maybe it's a topic for a breakfast soon to be announced or,
Good idea.
but and newspapers are great for that. At this point in our time, I think these are the grants that make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this before. How do we keep track of and share with the public the number of things we've done in relation to the environment? I think it's quite a list. Go ahead.
Yes, right. Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. When you discussed before, I think we talked about when I bring the strategic plan report back and the feedback that we
Okay.
received, including in there ways that you've met that strategic pillar, which is an exhaustive list.
That's
It's a
great.
big list.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's gonna be exciting, I'm sure. Anybody else? Call question on favor. Carried. Okay, heading 4 is the agreement with CMO. On your support. All right, circular materials, Ontario. Moved by Councilor Aragona, seconded by Councilor Cardy. The bylaw 2025-29 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor clerk to enter into an agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for promotional educational material support, given it for a second, third time, finally passed the 16th day of September 2025. So related to this, it looks like the government's moving in the right direction. That they're not postponing things or they're not taking things off the table, they're just deferring them a couple of years. But really, Mr. Evans, I don't see a big impact for the village in the pause that the government has put on this. I don't think for the residential collection that we do here, it's going to have a big difference. Do you feel comfortable with that as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
the goal of the programs for residential clients is absolutely no impact. We've been flagging for, well, maybe a number of years by now that we expect differences to the commercial side. The residential side should not notice much of a difference if any.
Good. Okay. Go ahead.
I would just point out that none of us noticed the difference last 2 weeks when we changed over to the new pickup routine and schedule. My stuff was out of there before I got out of bed. It's amazing.
Is it too? One of my neighbors, youngins, it's a big deal the day that they're watching, they'll know who it is. It's a big deal when the garbage truck comes by and mom would come out and there's a younger one, baby as well. The little guy, he just was so excited when the garbage truck would come by. And the drivers, I should share this publicly and then Peter, you can share it with your company. They're just great. They take the time and they talk. Now it's got 2 trucks. Okay, let's carry. Holy moly. Hey, we're almost there, team. Any notices of motion today? Any announcements today?
Just seeing if Sandy sent me info about Red Shirt Day. Indeed. Orange Shirt Day.
That's what you said.
I was looking at that red flag there. Indeed, which is September 30th, but I had thought to ask for some info so I could share it because it's 30th, which is the day of our next meeting. Tuesday, from 1 to 3. Rita Lakes Library will have a storybook walk. Children from St. Ed's, a few classes from St. Ed's and Rito Vista will be attending. Grandmother Mireille Lapointe will open the circle and do a smudge and give a talk. There'll be a reading of a book you can hear. You can hear The Plants. Book called The Plants by Nicholas Hummingbird. There'll be an opportunity for reflections to share verbally on a paper leaf, which can be, the beautiful leaves that have been cut out and delivered that are going to be there for people to write on, that will be placed on a tree mural. All this stuff on Tuesday, September 30th from 1 to 3 at Lockwood Park.
Excellent.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Orange Shirt Day.
Orange Shirt Day. Okay, got that. I'm back from out of town and I'll do my best. Anybody else announcement? Okay, so early notice to the public. We're just still confirming a few things, but we're hoping to hold a breakfast with the mayor on Thursday, October the 2nd. So once we confirm the date, we confirm the venue, which generally speaking is the Cove. Remember that they put a reasonably priced buffet breakfast on for us. They do ask that you notify whoever is on the poster that are writing things. So go to the poster just so they are only making breakfast for us. They're not making it for others. So they try and get the number right. So Thursday, October the 2nd at 8 o'clock, and that goes for breakfast is 8 to 8:30, and then 8:30 till about 10 to 10. We have a discussion about a couple of items, and we're working on that agenda now. Anybody else announcing?
I'm not part of the organizing, but there is Westport in Westport this week, so it'll be great musical event around town.
Right.
Thank you to all the organizers.
Yes, for sure. And when they're walking around town and hungry and dying for a barbecue, St. Paul's Church is running both a yard sale from 8 to 1, and they'll have breakfast sandwiches there until 10:30, and then the barbecue will have sausages and hot dogs. Come and browse and enjoy a barbecue lunch or breakfast. Twig anybody else?
I'm
No.
starving. Oh, is that what you meant?
No. But come on Saturday.
Yeah, well.
On your way to play.
Yeah.
Come and grab a sandwich.
I've had people calling me from out of town wondering about Porch Fest. Like, it has become a buzz out
Yeah,
there
for sure.
that people are coming from afar.
Yeah.
Because they've heard great things about it.
Yeah, and there's so many others throughout Eastern Ontario that want to make sure what we can plan their weekends. Yeah, it's a great event. Any questions from the public or the media? No, seeing none. Okay, well, we've got to go into closed camera just for a couple of things here, team. So it's moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that we proceed into closed session as permitted under the Municipal Act to consider a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiation carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality for local board. All in favor? And that's carried. Welcome back. We were coming out of in-camera meeting. It's moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona. The council met in closed session to discuss matters pertaining to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiation carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. And council took no action before beyond receiving the information from staff. All in favor? Carried. So Cardy, that bylaw 2025-30 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the meetings held on August the 12th, September 2nd, and September 16th, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 16th day of September. All in favor? Carried. And we're at adjournment, moved by Councillor Cardy. By Councillor Cardy. What's that? Seconded by Councillor. Yes, I do read them. Seconded by Councillor Aragona that this meeting of the council